Hey guys, Richard of Ride and Zoom here. Slightly different location for the video. I'm in my living room with the curtains to the back door right behind me. My wife's walking the dog, so why not? Got my clothes drying in the bedroom where I'd normally do this, so maybe not. So anyway, look, this is my latest review. This is the James Patterson book, Cat and Mouse, book 4 in its Alex Cross series. I'm still sure this is the second book of his I've ever read. Pop Goes Weasel was the first one. And this may be a sequel to Along Came Spider, but I'm sure I read this next. And then I read them all probably in order, but probably not afterwards. But yeah, onto it then. So, spoilers for this and book 1. So, sequel to book 1. You know, the character Gary Sinise, the one who kidnapped two children from this really like rich school. One died and the other got abducted by like someone else. This is his revenge story. Yeah, he made contact in Jack and Jill at the end. You know, saying that he's the reason. You know, that Alex's new cat is being delivered by him. And yeah, Alex kind of just ignored that and just carried on with his life. But this is about him. You know, he's come back, sneaks into the house just to save a being, and that didn't do anything. Leaves, and then eventually does make his move. He's doing everything he used to do, like really successfully, committing corrupt murders and like getting away with it. So that he's picked up AIDS in the prison, so he's dying in what's kind of blaze of glory. And basically, the book ends with him going down there, trying to take Alex down once and for all, and burning himself to death in the subway. Quite the end, as that's like where the cellar. It's a reminder of the cellar in his home where he got thrown when he was bad, but grew to like love being down there. And so yeah, and then there's another part of the book. I mean, the Gary Sinise stuff ends roughly halfway through. Then it moves on to the other villain. I think they mentioned him in the previous book, maybe not. Mr. Smith. The guy who's traveling around Europe and other countries like outside Europe, killing multiple people with like no obvious pattern and doing it absolutely perfectly. And it cuts to a character called Thomas Pierce. He becomes like the narrator because even after Gary Sinise is killed, someone shows up at the night when Alex is like, pretty much helpless because he's like really been drinking to celebrate, and then as he beats Alex's family half to death, and then like nearly kills Alex. Alex is like believed not to survive his injuries, and then it cuts to Thomas Pierce, who then takes over. He's basically the narrator of this, and he has him like having scenes with Samson, Kyle Craig, a few others, and then it basically ties into when Alex recovers from the coma. It turns out that Mr. Smith and Thomas Pierce, they're the same person. And Thomas Pierce has like been pulling all this off expertly. There's like suspicions, and they work out it's him, but there's like no proof of it. And yeah, the story is basically trying to like catch him once Alex recovers. They basically say that his like injuries, how severe they were well, his injuries were severe, but the fact that he like died from them was covered up. It's basically a trick to lure Mr. Smith out, which they do, and they manage to catch him. It turns out his killing pattern is quite gruesome. First, all surnames of each victim in order are basically spelling out a phrase that he's basically killed. He killed this person, and then later on he starts adding to it. He will kill again. So they have to like stop him. Yeah, he's basically murdered his wife, who was having an affair, and has like just lost it since then. And his killings are just truly gruesome, like cutting people's hearts out and stuff. He's like, seems like the most inhuman. It's a good story, but to be honest, this is a reread. I had no problem skipping a bit I didn't like, and that is ultimately when Thomas Pierce is the narrator, because they never needed it. I mean, this book is, almost 500 pages. It could have easily been cut down to 400, and they never needed that. The scene with Thomas Pierce investigating, proving one is prove he's cleverer and better than Alex Cross. We never need it at all, so they shouldn't have bothered. To be honest, it's good when he gets caught again. There's a trend in these books, multiple like bad guys. Book 1 you had Gary Sinise and what's her name? No, Kate was one from Kiss the Girls. Jesse Flanagan from the Secret Service. Yeah, then you had Casanova and his accomplice / friend from the second one. Book 3 is Jack and Jill, and then Jack was working for other people. And same thing here, Gary Sinise and Mr. Smith. So I'm looking forward to the next one where I'm pretty sure it's just the one villain. I kind of hope so. But yeah, to be honest, I'd rather they just cut the Mr. Smith completely. Not just the scene with Thomas Pierce as the narrator, but him being point of view character, but just the whole thing. Let him be, I don't know, a guy who got away with his crimes, or save it for another book. But I just felt it wasn't needed. Everyone bought this for the Gary Sinise stuff, and that's what we wanted. So it's a good book overall, some good stuff. What I like about these is some reference to modern events and like the year it's set in. I think this was 97. The character's getting older. Alex's love life. We really need the sexual scenes. All that stuff. So it's good to see. That's why I've never been too big fan of Jane Austen's other books. It's ultimately Alex Cross and that his family and friends storylines I've always liked the most, rather than other books he's written, except the odd one-off like When the Wind Blows. So yeah, that's it. Good book, but they could cut the entire second half, especially though the narrating from Thomas Pearce. Get rid of that bit completely, and this be a 5. But yeah, 4 out of 5 I'd give this. But yeah, good book. It wraps up the Ghost Energy stuff perfectly. Although, in fact, there's some guy comes up and tries to kill Alex and his family soon after, perhaps suggests Ghost Energy's got more contact. Who knows? But yeah, it's a good book. Definitely recommended. And that's it. So I'll see you next time.